Welcome back! Today is our day 6 and we will be traveling to Turkey. Let's paint chimney rocks and hot air balloons. Let's start with a basic sketch of the rock mountain. Again, we just draw lines and try to portray the essence of the place with colors later on. Next, let's draw some hot air balloons. I vary the size and position to show distance. Let's start painting. I moisten the paper with some water. Next, I get yellow ochre to paint the light on the horizon. I add a bit of burnt sienna to make the color warmer. Next, I mix amethyst genuine and horizon blue to create a bluish mix to paint the upper part of the sky. I avoid painting over the hot air balloons at this time. I gently move my brush and softly blend the blue and yellow colors. Since I added a purple color in my blue mix and burnt sienna on my yellow ochre, I prevented having a green mix in the sky. I also add drops of darker color on the sky to show perspective. So here, I will start painting the landscape. I used the same mix of horizon and amethyst genuine but added a bit of burnt sienna to paint the distant mountain. I painted this mountain while the paper is still moist. Not too wet so the colors will not bleed to the sky. I get a darker brown mix to paint the other mountain closer to us. The tonal value has to be darker than the sky so it will pop. Next, I create an orangey brown mix with a very creamy consistency to paint the impression of rocks. And notice the direction of the brush as I do the strokes. I do downward strokes to portray the rocks, and the consistency is also very thick and creamy. Next, let's paint the ground with a quick dry brush stroke. Again, the movement of my brush depends on the angle of the plane that I want to portray. I sprayed a bit of water so I can create some sort of hard and soft edge on the landscape. Notice that loose but intentional strokes like this are sufficient to portray the essence of the place. I dry this layer thoroughly before painting the hot air balloons. I mix a deep blue color using indigo and cobalt for my main balloon. Create dimension on the balloon by changing the tone. Softening the color makes it look rounded. Feel free to use colors that you like for the balloons, but just don't forget about the tonal value. For more defined strokes, I change my brush to a synthetic one. I do the same step to the other balloons, but for the distance balloons, they must have a lighter tone. Our main balloon should be the only one with a very saturated or dominant color. I vary the colors of the balloons to make it more interesting. Don't put too many details on the other balloons so they won't overpower our main focal point. For our final step, I will add some dark highlights and accents on the rocks and on the landscape. You don't have to put a lot of it. A few spots here and there already make a great difference. This is our final painting. I hope you are slowly getting more relaxed and fearless when painting. Let's continue the habit and paint our next destination.